everyone, it's Mark Fletcher. I'm Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform, a proud iCERT member. Here's the August update for iCERT. Joining me is George Kellerman, the Executive Director. George, great seeing you at APCO the other week.
Hey, Mark, good to see you too. Great seeing you last week as well.
Yeah, it's always, it was kind of great seeing everybody in person, although it was the same conversation over and over. Hi, how you doing? How you making out? Oh, you're still employed? Great. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been kind of that way for the whole summer. So, I guess looking at it from a positive angle, it's been great that folks have been able to get back together. These conferences have been able to happen after, kind of fits and starts over the last year or so. So it's been nice. iCERT's been out we were out at the NENA conference, at the NASDA conference back in June, and then at APCO last week out in Anaheim. So it's great to be out there and connecting with everyone and really, like you said, seeing everybody in person and having a lot of those conversations with everyone.
Yeah, and I did not hear any kind of major influx of COVID after this one. It was always that small group after all the conferences, but I haven't talked to anybody that was affected at this conference, knock on wood. So
yeah, absolutely. Great. I'm knocking on wood as well. So
the big topic was 911 legislation. What's iCERT's position on that? Where do we sit?
Well, it's, we're obviously very pleased and very supportive of legislation that moving forward that would fund NG 911. I think as we talked about in our last update back in June, that was right when the House bill kind of materialized and started to work its way through the process. Well, fast forward now to mid-August, a couple months down the road, the House bill continued to work its way through and did pass the House at the end of July. And so it's called the Spectrum Innovation Act, and it contains up to $10 billion in funding for NG 911. That would be that $10 billion would be proceeds of spectrum auctions, because at its heart, the Spectrum Innovation Act is a spectrum auction bill. Now, $10 billion is not enough. I think all of us agree that the need for full deployment across the country for NG 911 is probably a lot significantly greater than that. However, $10 billion over this early part here is a significant initial investment by the federal government to fully deploy NG 911 across the country. So that part, is very heartening, and we're pleased by that. And there's a lot of momentum going. This bill passed on a very, very bipartisan basis out of the House. In fact, its entire process through the House was incredibly bipartisan. But on the final vote out of the House, upwards of 90 Republican members of the House voted for it. So very bipartisan, a lot of support for it. And now the work begins in the Senate. So, the Senate had a Senate Commerce Committee subcommittee on communications had a hearing early in August, right before they went on August recess, and they spent a lot of time talking about this bill and these issues, including NG 911 funding. So now a lot of behind the scenes work takes over as we work and our stakeholder partners work with members of the Senate, particularly on the conference committee, to ensure that the Senate continues that momentum of including NG 911 funding in whatever they're going to do.
And I think really this is the most valuable part and contribution that iCERT has, because this is where we, and by we, I'm saying our members, get to inject all of our critical points into this and make sure our voices are being heard within the Senate. I mean, that's critical to make sure that the proper language comes out, not something that, because let's face it, they have no idea about all this technical jargon and what it really means, right? So iCERT's very critical in getting those points in there that need to be.
Yeah, and on that note, I think at this point, you talk about folks weighing in. It's really important for members of the Senate, particularly of the Commerce Committee, to hear from our community. And the simple message is this: please fund NG 911. Include NG 911 funding in your Spectrum Innovation Act. Because of all these reasons. And I think everybody, all the stakeholders can tell the variety of reasons of how important this is to their community, how important it is to the public safety community in general, how important it is to our country. But at the end of the day, the key message is fund NG 911. There's a lot of bipartisan momentum. Let's keep it going and get it done.
Yeah, and having dealt with Kerry's Law and being involved in Ray bombs, you think these things are quick and simple because they're kind of like no-brainer decisions. And even the no-brainer decisions can take a decade to get through. All of the machine that has to happen. They call it the sausage machine for a reason, right?
Exactly.
But anyway, we're making progress, and that's the big part of it.
Yeah, we're definitely making progress. It's going to be, it's obviously going to be a busy rest of August for us and for everyone involved, all the stakeholders involved, and then it's going to be a mad dash in September because a couple of the pieces that are tied to the Spectrum Innovation Act need to be done and handled by the end of the month, by the end of September. So, and NG 911 is part of that mix, and so it's going to be a very, very, fast and furious September, but hopefully a good one by the time we get to the end.
So if you look at all the facts, it went through, we've got bipartisan agreement, and we've got a deadline coming up where it's got to be finished. It's not like you're going to push it off until later. It's in the mixer, right? So it's going to be there. So our job is to make sure that we get the most that we can get out of what's going to happen. So
yeah, absolutely.
Almost a done deal.
Yeah, and as it is with Congress, you can say it's almost a done deal. We can add sports analogies to it, and say we're in the red zone. But there's a lot of things that can happen to change that. So we just got to keep focused and keep raising the voices and making it known how important this is. This should be a national priority. Let's fund it and get it done.
We need find the fat lady and get her to sing. Maybe we can hire her for our December meeting that's coming up.
Well, hopefully we'll have a lot of good news to share on this front. I know that, thanks for mentioning that. We are planning the iCERT member meeting in December. It'll be on Wednesday, December the 7th, up in Washington, D.C., actually on Capitol Hill. So, we're already putting together a really great program that I think all our members and any of our guests will enjoy and get a lot of value out of. But, one kind of key thing would be great, would be very, very cool to be able to celebrate passage of some very meaningful NG 911 funding legislation and bring in some of the key players that help make that happen, to kind of tell that story and talk about what's next.
That's a great opportunity because we're going to be in Washington. We're right on the Hill. We're going to have great access to people down there that are directly involved in this. I'm hoping we're going to have a great lineup set up for the event.
Yeah, that's what we're working on. So more details to come. I know August, especially now that the APCO conference is done, for a lot of our colleagues in the community, the travel is winding down. Folks are thinking about, the next few weeks is when they take their vacations before, kids go back to school and whatnot. So I know folks are kind of starting to lay low and chill out, but as are a lot of people. So as soon as we get past Labor Day and we get into September and really kind of start the fall, we will be rolling out all of the information and details, at least the initial information and details about iCERT's member meeting in December, registration, some hotel suggestions and whatnot, and really start to build that momentum and nail down the agenda to be able to really put together a great meeting like we had in Seattle, really build on that and enjoy having everybody join us in December.
Excellent. Well, listen, thanks very much for providing this August update, George. I think the members really, really appreciate these. I get a lot of positive feedback on them. It's a great way of getting these information and details out to the members that they can consume whenever and wherever they need to. So thanks for taking the time to do this.
No, Fletch, really appreciate you and 911 Inform for helping us produce these and get them out and making them such a value add to the membership and anybody who's interested in iCERT. So, happy to keep doing them. Thanks so much for your help and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Not a problem, George. Take care. We'll see you next time.
You bet. Thanks.